What made you see that someone had blood on their hands? Dr. Truman told me I was crazy 3 minutes before my organs started shutting down. The nightmare started when I was 28, and my hands wouldn't stop shaking with tremors so bad I dropped my coffee every morning. I ended up making an appointment with the best internal medicine doctor in the city, Dr. Truman. During our first meeting, he took notes for over an hour and gave me his personal cell phone number, which made me think I'd finally found a doctor who cared about helping me. However, as weeks turned into months, I kept getting sicker instead of better. I lost 20 pounds in 2 months because I couldn't keep food down, and my hair fell out in big chunks. Whenever I called Dr. Truman, he always answered, but kept insisting my blood work was perfect, and that stress could cause all my symptoms. When I tried to see other specialists for second opinions, they all already knew about my case and would say Dr. Truman was handling everything since he was the best doctor in the state. I didn't realize until much later that he had been telling these doctors I was an addict. By the 3rd month of being sick, my brain started having serious problems too. I would freeze mid-sentence because I couldn't remember simple words, while my vision got blurry and my gums bled constantly. I also had this awful metallic taste in my mouth that never went away no matter what I ate or drank. During this time, Dr. Truman started suggesting I needed therapy, saying that intelligent women sometimes developed physical symptoms when they were stressed. Since he was a respected doctor with decades of experience, I started believing that maybe I really was losing my mind. Everything changed when I collapsed at work during the 6th month of my illness. My manager called 911, and the young woman doctor in the emergency room ran tests I'd never heard of before. When she got the results back, her face went white and she told me I had severe mercury poisoning with levels so high she couldn't understand how I was still alive. After I explained I'd been sick for 6 months, she stared at me like I should already be dead and wrote down Dr. Truman's name. The next week, I went back to Dr. Truman with all the emergency room results, showing mercury levels that should have killed me, plus kidney damage and brain problems. He looked at the papers for maybe 30 seconds before pushing them back and claiming the tests were obviously wrong since mercury poisoning was impossible. He suggested I had contaminated the samples myself and said we needed to discuss my mental state, using the word delusions to describe my belief in the test results. That's when I started secretly recording all our appointments on my phone and investigating. It took me 2 weeks to figure out that Dr. Truman's brother-in-law had done dental work on me 8 months earlier at a practice that had been shut down for using illegal mercury fillings. The dental office had reopened under a different name, and I discovered that Dr. Truman himself sat on their advisory board. When I confronted him with this evidence, he didn't even try to deny it, but instead warned me I had no idea what I was dealing with. He said he destroyed careers over less and asked who people would believe between a respected physician and an unstable woman who thinks her teeth are talking to her. Instead of listening to his threats, I spent the next 2 years building my case against him. Every lawyer I contacted had already been called by Dr. Truman and refused to help me, while patient advocacy groups would hang up as soon as they heard his name. Since he had made me invisible in the medical community, I started finding his other victims on my own. I found a woman who'd been told she had anxiety while actually having heart attacks, a man whose cancer went undetected for 2 years because Dr. Truman called it depression, and the mother of an 8-year-old girl who almost died when her appendicitis was dismissed as growing pains. We met in secret to collect evidence and record phone calls while documenting every single lie. I drove to out-of-state doctors and paid cash so Dr. Truman couldn't track my medical records. Then I filed a complaint with evidence from 23 patients spanning 12 years. The medical board hearing came shortly after. I walked up on shaking legs when they called my name and told them everything about the tremors, memory loss, and bleeding gums. I showed them dental records proving Dr. Truman knew exactly what was poisoning me while he convinced everyone I was delusional. When I finished speaking, the entire room was silent until the board chairwoman asked Dr. Truman if he had anything to say. He stood up claiming he'd provided appropriate care within standard medical practice, but they revoked his license that same afternoon, not just suspending it, but permanently removing his ability to practice medicine forever.